Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News. Early morning chat. Hello and good morning to a lot of you around the world. Okay. If you guys haven't seen or heard me or any video before, this is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News. And I'm actually just finishing a shift. So I'm up. Just ate a Honey Crisp apple. So I'm up and at 'em, right? And I wanted to reach out to you guys. I enjoyed the Sunday afternoon chat, so we're doing it again this morning, right? And we were talking some pretty good stuff, about boxers of the rankings, the pound for pound. We talked a lot about Jai Pataya and his decision to stay at cruiserweight instead of going to heavyweight, which was very, very interesting. I've been reading the comments about the Wilder stuff and Wilder getting robbed, and then Wilder still regurgitating the same stuff about AJ, and of course the profile picture that I chose with Andrew Tate. And I think I'll start there at Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate, I think he is a victim of his own demise. And what I mean by that is Andrew, his lifestyle, I think he was pretty much telling on himself. Like, he likes nice things. He likes women, which, I can't say who don't, but you know what I mean? I think he got confused with, I know just because I'm in decent shape means that, hey, I can take on someone that's an actual fighter. That's two different things. I touched a little bit on it when he got beat, and it actually was rather embarrassing because, Andrew is very articulate, right? He can speak. He has proper etiquette. He talks a lot of shit. And because he does, that warrants, what your mouth is able to produce is what your hands should produce, right? Or should I say your ass should produce? We Paul's Moses 7074. Hello. Mohammed. Salute Kurt. Egas Klimas has said Usyk will fight a multiple fight deal in the U.S., not under Riyadh. That's interesting. Send me that, though. I need to look that up because I need to do a video on that ASAP. Need workout. Sir, semen rotation is good for your body. Your normal, please guide. Okay. Mama Lou 1196. Hiya, Mama Lou. Counterpunch to you. When you guys come in, let's hit that like button. I'm up wide awake, man. I feel great. I slept through the night. I woke up like late night and decided to work. So, you are Mia Khalifa's husband. I don't know who that is. So no. Hell, I'm nobody's husband. Shit. Where did you get that? Get what? 8:30 p.m. in Australia. What's good, Kurt? Nolan Reisenberg. Counterpunch to you. Everything's good, man. Well, except this weather. I was bragging on how cool the weather was yesterday. It has dropped 30 degrees. So it was like 70. Now it's in the 40s. Now the wind factor is crazy. That's how people get sick in Texas or in the South. You get a hot day on a Monday or a Sunday, and then Monday is the deadline. That drops on you. Then all of a sudden, you're looking at 38 degrees, and you're like, oh, snap. What happened? She said semen retention. What? Hugh, sup, dude? Need workout talk about boxing or leave or you will be removed. Mama Lou, counterpunch to you. Mama Lou ain't playing no games. There's reasons why there are certain soldiers in the trenches, in the live chat that I assigned, okay, to do the job. Skrilla 50, Mama Lou, you know, cats like that, they don't play. Like, you remember in when Anthony Joshua lost to Usyk in the second fight in Saudi Arabia, and the older guy, AJ, was walking out, and the older guy was like, "Keep it professional, chap. Keep it professional." And AJ turned around, "Who you talking to?" That's them. Them AJs. That's the link. Where's the link? Yes, my kids stay here in Texas. Nice. What part of Texas? Is the end times, bro. Get used to it. Oh man, it's crazy. End times, what is it? Generation 6? G5, now it's G6. They're supposed to be implanting phones and shit in you. No way in hell. I'm never going to get barcoded. I'll go off the grid before that happens. But you don't have to do that. I'll probably just stick to a laptop with Wi-Fi. You know what I mean? You're not going to barcode me. You're not going to chip me. You're not going to do any of that shit. I don't care what people say. I'll grow my own stuff. I'll do my own thing. Why did the chicken cross the road? Little Fire 01. What's up, man? Still gutted for the reality check for Ike. Yeah, we talked about Ike yesterday. Let me finish up on Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate, if he wants to seriously continue boxing, you know what I mean, he needs to get someone that knows how to train him properly. And I think he got so accustomed to being a motivating influencer, you know what I'm saying? Like, you have to remember, just because you influence people doesn't mean you can't be influenced or taught. If you get to the level that you don't or you can't be taught, you're no good. And that might be Andrew Tate's problem. Now, I said might. I didn't say definitely or is his problem. But if he wants to take fighting seriously, if he's in love with the sport, or he can properly fight and he can have a better go at himself, he needs to put in the effort. But now we can talk about Ike Ibeabuchi. Ike Ibeabuchi, yeah, it's painful to hear, because one thing we did know, that was one thing that he had. No one can say that they tapped that ass. Now you got somebody that beat him, and the guy that beat him is a guy with 16 losses. I keep thinking about that, and I'm like, that 16 losses that he took, right? The guy that beat Ike Ibeabuchi, I didn't know one person that beat him. Everybody was damn near local. Everyone was damn near local, and it was crazy. It was like, yo, I don't know none of these dudes that beat this guy that beat Ike. I know none of them. So, yeah. Unpopular opinion, we all died in 2012 and are currently living in a simulation or demonic hellscape. Man, that's some scary shit. And you know something crazy? 2012 was probably one of the best years I ever had in my life. So you may have a point. I hope that ain't true, because it was so many people that died in 13. My mom died. I had about 4 cousins died. My father-in-law died. Like, a lot of people just, like, and it wasn't just like a lot of people I personally knew that passed away in 2013. A lot of other weird shit just started happening. You know what I mean? Like, I had a child, and the child died in 13. It was crazy. 13 was probably the worst year. 14 until the next year. So yeah, you say that, it makes me think more and more about, look, and I remember how good 12 was, and it was almost like the end of something that will never be again type shit. So it is what it is. Are you that one dude from Stray Kids? Never heard of that. He pops too much. You are no general. You did nothing. Who the hell is Dirt Bag Dustin? I'm gonna turn Dirtbag Dustin into dust. He keeps talking. Dubois gave AJ PTSD. That's he's not training with Usyk to avoid getting knocked out again. We deep east Texas near Carthage. Oh yeah, you're damn near in Shreveport. He said you are already barcoded and chipped. Damn, no, I'm not. Andrew has to rebuild. Yeah, he does. He said, do you box fight? Nah, I fight and box. First time in your live. Hello and hello to all in the chat at Chili Drone. Counterpunch to you, brother. Welcome to the chat. Everybody, welcome Chili Drone. Welcome. David Tua smashed him, bro. David Tua smashed who? I know you lying because you're not talking about Ike Ibeabuchi. Hell no. Hell no. I mean, it was a good fight, but David Tua did not win that fight. In fact, David Tua just got outworked and he got stunned. Because everything David did, Ike did better. That's how he beat David Tua. He beat David Tua at his own game. The hell are you talking about? Hell no. Hell no. Hi from Malaysia. Is it Shy Free Kick Ram? I'm not putting that together. David lost all points, but Ike took a hiding. Went Coco. David didn't even affect him. Went cuckoo. Oh, cuckoo. Now, I think you need to watch that shit again. He said that's why you don't go toe to toe with an Islander. Let me guess, you're an Islander. You're either what? You Polynesian, Micronesian, you know. Say, damn, bro, my condolences. 777. Yeah, man, it's crazy. All that shit happened in 2013. And yeah, it was crazy. Bro, let's go for eat chicken wings with a beer. Yeah, that'll be dope. What's the worst decision you ever seen in boxing? Ooh, I don't know about the worst right now because I mean, there's been a lot of bad decisions in boxing. Probably Holyfield and Lewis won. That was very bad. Minus the third round. Hey, bro, I just posted a drawing of Morgan Freeman on a jet ski. Okay. Ike was on roids, bro. Oh, now he was on roids. Okay. Who beat up his Mrs. and went to jail and went insane after that fight? Ike was never the same. Well, I don't know about that. I think he had mental issues. I don't know what the origin of why he had them. I do question on, like, normally someone gets out. I don't know. I mean, a lot of people may blame what he did to CTE, or he had some kind of brain damage, because then people link that David Tua fight, and but he still whooped David Tua though. He still beat David. And I like David Tua. David just did not beat Ike Ibeabuchi. In fact, no one knew who Ike was. This dude was he was like Manny Pacquiao. He was like Manny Pacquiao, bro. Manny Pacquiao was a guy that no one knew at all, from the Philippines, from Sarangani, right? No one knew who he was. Freddie Roach brought this kid in with this orange ass hair, and he wasn't the premier dude. The premier dude was actually Ledwaba. Ledwaba, God rest his soul, was the guy that was signed to HBO for a 5-fight deal. It was like, I think they were going to give him, I know it was $1 million something for like 3 or 4 fights, until they came across Manny Pacquiao, and Manny Pacquiao stopped Ledwaba, and no one seen that coming. That was Ike. Ike came in, bro, and made his mark, and he made his mark beating the toughest of opponents like David Tua. David Tua was undefeated. They were labeling David Tua the Samoan Mike Tyson, because I mean, he was built like Mike. You know what I mean? He kind of fought like Mike Tyson in a sense. He wasn't as mobile as Mike. Mike was faster. I think David might have hit harder than Mike Tyson, but then Mike was just more. He had more agility than David Tua. In fact, Mike, I remember when Mike said that, I wish I could train. I wish I could train David Tua. I wish he was a part of my gym and part of my crew. And that always stuck with me when Mike said that. You know what I mean? And it was like, damn, what if David Tua was actually trained by Mike Tyson? You know what I'm saying? With the durability that Ike had, and the punching power that Ike, but then you show him the side to side movement. I wonder if David Tua could actually adapt to that style. You know what I'm saying? Because one thing about David, just keeping it real, David Tua had calf muscles like this. This motherfucker had calf muscles the size of my head, and I got a big ass head. He has some big ass calf muscles. And the thing about David Tua, he was reported never to go down. I think he went down like that last fight he had with Rahman, and it was more like a trip because he was trying to backpedal or whatever. But that was started with a punch. But he was very durable, and I don't know if that is because of those big calf muscles, because those calf muscles, they were so strong that he always had a good position and good balance, as well. So I don't know. It would be interesting to see David Tua, fight under Mike Tyson. That would be so. I think David Tua would probably be reinvented. He probably should have done that with Mike. I know Mike was busy living his own crazy life, but if Mike actually had the opportunity to train David Tua, because, Mike is about 58, 59. I think he's 59, right? Mike Tyson is 59. David Tua is 52, right? So he's 7 years older than him. So, he's yeah. I would definitely like to see that, though. Who beat up his missus? Okay. Conrad Francis. I'm Melanesian. Counterpunch to you, brother. Who you got, Lopez or Stevenson? I don't have a pony in the show, man. I mean, Stevenson. I'll pick one. Stevenson. I think Stevenson's boxing ability will be able to beat Tio, but Tio's talented too. And here's the thing. I was thinking about Tio today, because I've made a video recently about Teofimo Lopez. And my problem with T.O. is I think T.O. tries to be influential when things are going his way. When things are not going his way, he shows another side to him that I don't feel, you know, you know what I mean? I think that's all personality. Like, he's one of those guys when things are not going his way, he shows you a side of him that I don't think a lot of people like. You know what I mean? And that's a lot of these new age boxes. You know, these younger boxes. David Benavidez should fight Bivol or and Beterbiev. Um, I don't know. I don't know if he will. If he's going to fight anyone, it would probably be Artur, because Artur's older. And I think he may feel that Artur may be old enough to take a chance with when he goes back to light heavyweight, which that's something I wouldn't recommend anyway. But, you know, if you want to be like Roy Jones Jr., go ahead, be my guest. Because that's exactly what happened to Roy Jones. Roy Jones had no business going back down from heavyweight there. It was just stupid of him. But whatever. Kurt, the link is above in the live chat. Okay. Grand Risings, Kurt. Peace, bro. J123659. Counterpunch to you, brother. Appreciate you. Grand Risings. David had better stamina and punch resistance. I don't know about stamina neither. I think David had better stamina in the 90s. You can't say that in the 2000s. David Tua gained 30 fucking pounds from 1997 to 2000. Because in 2000, he finally got his opportunity to take on Lennox Lewis for the heavyweight championship of the world, because he was the #1 ranked, whatever sanctioning body that was. I can't remember now, but David Tua had gained so much weight to the point where he did more than grow hair. He grew everywhere else too. You know, and a lot of people think he punched harder because he was bigger. I just think that's a bunch of bullshit. I think his diet was terrible. And if you know anything about Islanders, they're muscular genetically. They're strong genetically. You know what I mean? Most of them, you'll randomly see a skinny Islander. Or should I say, they're built a certain way. Like, how many Samoans did you know with skinny toothpick legs? You know what I mean? You're not going to see that. They're going to be muscular to a certain degree. I love Ricky Hatton. Rest in peace. His personality was second to none. Would have a chat with anyone, so he would. Well, I hope. The unfortunate thing is, the day he decided to end his own life, I wish somebody would have had a chat with him to change his mind. You know? Because I think sometimes people just need that person to talk to. You know what I mean? And when you're not around, and when a person's isolated and they're at that moment, they feel lonelier than they ever felt. You know, and those type of things happen, unfortunately. You know, I had an uncle, not Uncle C, but I had an uncle. True story. I had an uncle that tried to unalive himself, and a lot of things weren't going right. You know, his wife left him, and he lost his job, and, you know, a lot of things that just were going wrong. And he was getting a haircut one day, and he explained to me, like, the barber, you know, they wrap the thing around your neck, you know, to get prepared to cut you. And he kind of put it around his neck, and he felt like it wasn't as bad. It was kind of, you know, he felt himself going to sleep because it was too tight. And that gave him the mind, or the thought, to, hey, if I was going to kill myself, I would do it by strangulation. Well, he tried it and the rope broke. And when the rope broke, he immediately, like, you know what I mean? Like, after that, the first thing he did when he found out that damn rope broke and it didn't strangle his neck, cutting off his air supply and killing him, he ran and called, like, yo, I need help. I just tried to unalive myself. You know what I mean? And they came and they got him and they took him on in. And, you know, he's with us today. You know what I mean? Thank God, right? So it's the sad thing about someone that unalives themselves, that maybe, especially when people that tried and failed, the percentage of the ones that tried and failed, 90% of them are happy that it did fail. That's just crazy. That just shows you that the bad decision, that's a fucking bad decision to make. And it's so final, you have no thought or no thought process to just, you know, process, yo, what the fuck did I just try to do? You know, it's crazy. Like Samoans and Polynesians, I don't know any Samoans at all. Oh, nah, they still ain't fast, for example, Shannon Briggs. Shannon Briggs is not Samoan. Shannon Briggs is not Polynesian. Not slow twitch in the fight game. It comes down to energy management. Yeah, maybe genetic wise overall not as gifted in long strides, fast twitch, but in terms of snapping the arm to land on the chin. Yeah, they definitely fought different. Like, but you know, David Tua also was a very nice person. Nobody know you, kid. You need a life, bruh. Okay. Who's your favorite current fighter? I like Artur Beterbiev. I just like the way he just he just plows through people. You know? Pause. It's 5 effing o'clock. Well, it's 3:58 here. Polynesians and Micronesians are originally come from Asia, and some people think they come from Africa originally, but they don't. You have no idea where they come from. You know, it. I think though, if you're looking at people and their genetic makeup, they're not built like Asians. You know what I mean? I like they may be a hybrid. You know, you know what I mean? Because you have to go back so many thousands of years. That's just like saying, what is a Creole person from Louisiana? You know what I mean? It's like, well, you know, it's a mixture of different things, you know, to make that particular group of people. Maybe the Polynesians or the Micronesians, especially Micronesians, but the Polynesians, you know, it. I think people underestimate what other groups of people are capable of doing, especially when it comes down to like other civilizations and stuff like that. You know, over the history of the world, you know, and we know probably very little about it. You know what I'm saying? You know, and then even the stuff that's documented is not always accurate, you know. His story, right? So Polynesians might have been a hybrid of Nigerians that actually came there from Moors that actually traveled, that came to that place many years ago. That's why they have spears and things of that nature. You know what I mean? So, yeah, tribes and shit. You know, you don't know. We just don't. We're totally agnostic when it comes to certain civilizations of how they were born and created. And for people that pretend, oh, that wasn't the case, we don't fucking know. You weren't there. You weren't there. You don't know how and why they are big boned and heavy structured like that. And they're strong as shit naturally. You know what I mean? You don't know that. You have friends that are Polynesian, Kurt. Friends that are Polynesian and family that are Micronesian. Explain. My first daughter, her mom is from Guam. She's Micronesian. And they got a bunch shitload of brothers and cousins and things like that. And I met them when I was late teenage years. So I've known them for like damn over 30 years. You know, um I know how to cook, you know, Micronesian stuff, everything from adobo to stufao to finny dinny to Keligwin. You know what I mean? Like if you guys are even familiar with that. But yeah, I grew up with these people, you know? They have great genetics, good stamina for their size and good strength. And in fact, like when I was a lot bigger once upon a time in my late 20s, a lot of people thought that I was Samoan. And I was like, no, I'm not Samoan. Nah. And it was actually a Samoan that asked me that, "Yo, you Samoan, bro?" Like, nah. Ike and subbed cause you on. Like and subbed cause you on. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate the support. What's your first boxing memory, brother? Hmm. My first boxing memory was Randall Bailey. And he boxed. Who was he fighting though? And like, yeah, Randall Bailey. Because I was watching boxing with my father. Now I remember clips of, like Hagler, Hearn. Those are the first memories. Some old Muhammad Ali things that you used to see in the 80s because those were just things that you saw throughout time from television. So Muhammad Ali, Randall Bailey, Hagler Hearn, those are my first boxing memories that I can remember, at any point. Exactly. Most of them are theories. I also think they are a hybrid. Look at Fiji. They have a lot of people with black skin. Well, they have a lot of people with dark skin. Um Now black skin like the Krishna and things like that, like actually have black skin like my hair. That shit's crazy. Walking around this piece looking like Nightcrawler. That's wild. They have a group of people. Where is it in it's somewhere in Africa, but the chick's skin color is like the face of your phone when it's off. It's just black. And that shit's amazing. When you see it, you think they're from fucking Avatar. You think they're from another planet. And it's like, where's this planet? I want to visit this. You have some little cream colored babies and they'll know they ain't from there. Because they be mine. you know? Conrad, there used to be Africans that used to be 15 feet tall back then. Damn. That sounds like more of some hybrid Nephilim blood people. According to researchers, people from Fiji and PNG came from Africa originally. Well, I think what people should do, because they flood. True story, okay? When I was working on Roots, which was 10 years ago, the remake, I doubled Forrest Whitaker as Fiddler, okay? Look it up. And what they were doing for the cast, and I was a stunt double. They were giving out 23andMe's because what they were trying to do, anyone that's supposed to or claim to have African background, they wanted you could have took the test and they'll pay for it. Production was doing it, which was kind of strange, you know. And then they brought, you know, and then you could, you know, it's you spit in this like little tube, and then you wrap it up, and then you send it off, and then you get it back. And you know, and then that's been real popular or whatnot. But what gets me is when you have a sibling and you and your sibling take the test, and then the test comes back different shit, you know, maybe mama's baby, daddy's maybe type of shit. But at the same time, if you have the same mom and dad, that should be the same thing, right? So I don't know. It's crazy. My memory was Larry Holmes versus Ali, Hagler, Hearn, Sugar Ray Leonard, and Spinks watching with my grandpa. Nice. Ex-con, counterpunch to you. Good boxing memories, man. Good boxing memories. Yes, Nephilim came from the fallen angels. Anki, Enil, Asa, all of them were Nephilim. It's crazy. But I thought the Nephilim came from when the angels breeded with the females. But of course, if they were angels, they had to be in some kind of human form, right? But anyway, yeah. My first boxing memory is a bloody nose at 9 years old. That wasn't a boxing memory. That was a damn fight. Unless you were in the boxing ring. That could have happened in the ring. You know? My cousin was saying his that this Christmas that Hagler would go away from his family for training camps and live in a house with just training gear and slept on the ground to embody a warrior's mentality. Thought that was gangster. Yeah, it was. Yeah. So, yeah, that's where the abomination came from. They made these crazy maybe they were like mules, you know what I mean? Like was it is it a donkey and a what is it? A donkey and a horse makes a mule, but a mule can't reproduce, probably like that. Or are you Egyptian? Not that I know, I'm not. Well, you know what? I had some like the 23 and Me that I came back. It was some Mali, North Mali. So that was north, like north of Kati, which is north of Bamako, which is the capital of Mali, and North Mali, which is close to that area of Egypt. But and it's crazy. I dated a girl from Mali for a long time. That motherfucker was probably related to me down the line, you know? Who knows, right? But he said you look Igbo. Is that that's a Nigerian, right? I don't think I had any Nigerian in there at all. It's crazy. Okay, it was Thai. I'm like 15% Taino, 15% Taino, which is from the Caribbean, the Taino Indian. I had what the hell is this? Hold on. What else was in there? There was Ivory Coast, like 10% Ivory Coast, 5% Mali, Sub-Saharan, like 11% Irish, which that's not a, you know, surprise. What else was it? They had a lot of 1%, which I thought was weird. You know. He said, my first boxing memory, hearing an old woman talk about Steve Cruz on the front page after he beat Barry McGuigan, July of '86. Nice, Joe. He say you look Irish. Yeah. Well, I drink Irish too. You know how Irish I am? Let me show you how Irish I am. I'm one of those cats that because I live check this shit out. Because I live in Texas, and I didn't even drink this weekend, but because I live in Texas, boom, yeah, Gentleman Jack. No, I'm not gonna drink, but that's like, you know, I'm Irish, and yes, we all drunk. We all some drunks. Yeah, man. Yeah, it's crazy. It is absolutely, it's nuts. I'm 50% Zulu, 50% Mandingo. Damn. That's some gangster shit. You should have a tattoo, 50 and 50. What's a 50 for? You know, are you from the UK? No. Hello, big guy. Hey, ninja. Yeah, man, Irish, bro. Fuck. Man, I got an Irish buddy named Barry. He's from fucking Galway. And I get with this fool. Like, he'll come to Austin. So I'll meet him in Austin. And we'll go to a pub. And we'll sit there 4 or 5 hours. And it's retarded, bro. It is like, we'll eat an Irish breakfast. We'll eat, eat and shit. And, and then before you know it, though, we'll be fighting somebody, But we'll sit there if it's a football game on, and we'll have either some Guinness or some Murphy's if they got it, which I haven't seen a pub that has Murphy's. You know what I mean? But bro, we will sit there and drink and have shots and talk shit all day. Like literally, we'll talk shit all day. Say, bro, I got this dog food for the low. DM me. Dog food for the low. Huh. Did you start another channel? Well, I have a Kurt DeVille channel. So it's been around. Kurt DeVille has been, I think Kurt DeVille, the channel has been, I think that's older than this channel. This is the channel that I dedicated. Of course, this is a boxing channel. But I really like that other channel. I wish you guys would subscribe so we can talk off topic of boxing. Just shoot the shit, other than boxing. We could talk boxing there, but it wouldn't be the mainstream. The mainstream would be about like self-improvement and life and just in general and relationships and shit and reviews. Because, man, despite, I don't know how long you guys have been on this channel, but this channel, I had a lot of models, right? And sometimes I still have intros with the models on them. But I've had my share of dating chicks that all around the world. I'm a world traveler. I've lived in Brazil for probably about a year, maybe 15 months, right? But there's been some heartbreaks and some shit, I've met some cunts down the way, some real bitches, and they, there's some real heartbreaking people that you would be surprised that exists, but it is what it is. So if you guys like wanted to talk and stuff like that, subscribe to Kurt DeVille's channel. Because I like to go live over there and, stir up some shit and talk a little bit about stuff that doesn't deal with boxing and leave this to where boxing is and leave that to where that is, He say, no fucking need for swearing. Okay. 6 beers, I'm a discipline, so I'm not allowed to drink or do drugs. That's good, man. Boa Chuck is heading, is it heading Headlining. Okay, headlining Dana White's first Zuffa boxing event early next year. Good for Dana White. He finally got somebody to sign. Good for him. So, yeah. Yeah, life, relationship, and reviews. I did one on what was the last one I did? Curry. You know, Anisha Curry and the basketball guy. I don't watch basketball like that, but you know, if you know how like popular an athlete is when you know of them and you don't watch the sport. That's how you know they're popular or mainstream, right? So there's a lot of people that don't watch boxing. They know who the hell Mike Tyson is, right? So, where does Spence go from 2026? As long as Errol Spence has money in his account, has him a house that's paid for, and he's a country boy at heart because he got a lot of land that he built a house on. Good for him. As long as he has that, he doesn't have to come back to boxing. I saw that the other day. Maybe last week, I believe. No, week before. And I saw the Terrence Crawford Errol Spence fight. And I saw it without the I saw it now in hindsight. And bro, I gotta tell you guys, man, I really felt bad for Errol. I felt bad for him, bro. I mean, like Crawford beat the shit out of him. And it was almost the type of damage that he took. I get it, because bro, his face was mangled. His face looked equivalent to when he got in that wreck. And I'm not being funny. I'm not being funny. It like the damage he took from Crawford made me feel bad for Errol. Like, damn, Errol. You know what I mean? You ever seen someone get beat up and it's like, oh man, I didn't know. You know what I mean? It's something that I don't really care to see every day, because it wasn't Errol Spence that didn't want to fight Terrence Crawford. It was the handlers of Errol Spence that didn't want Errol Spence to fight Terrence Crawford. I want people to understand that it wasn't Errol Spence. It was his handlers. And a lot of times the fighters are loyal and they respect the decision of their handlers. You know what I mean? Fighters fight, but those guys that make the decisions, they are the decision makers. And because they are, this is what you got. And that's what you had. They froze Terrence Crawford out. He was across the street. He's on the other side of the street and all that stuff. Man, and he came over there and he released fury, hell, fire, and brimstone on all them cats. Is Jake Paul a fraud? No, he can't be a fraud. He got knocked out by Anthony Joshua. That was supposed to happen. So, no, I wouldn't call Jake a fraud, man. I wouldn't call the dude a fraud. You get your jaw broken to places. How can you be a fraud? A fraud is somebody that doesn't step up to the plate like everyone thought that he would never do. The pet peeve of Jake Paul is he would never, ever, ever fight anybody that could beat him. That was the first narrative. Okay? That's what it was. Everybody thought he was that dude that was young, that was learning how to box, but he needed an edge, and the edge is fighting a whole bunch of old motherfuckers. Or a bunch of people that didn't belong in boxing in the first place, and they were old motherfuckers. Okay. But he fought Tommy Fury. And Tommy Fury is a Fury, right? They're fighting men. So he loses a decision. So at that point, I'm like, okay, well, Jake fought Tommy Fury. Now, I felt he could have fought him again, but I think he took a lot of backlash, and I think people, I think that affected him because he didn't think that he would lose, but he lost. So obviously, all these damn fights can't be scripted. They all can't be scripted. Now, can some of them? Maybe. But you can't say that all of them can be scripted if he's getting his ass whooped or he's taking L's and he's getting knocked out and getting his jaw broke in 2 places and getting teeth removed. That's bullshit. You know what I mean? He just thought that he could do it, and he found out he couldn't. That does not make him a fucking fraud. The fraud part is what I just discussed. But anyway, it is what it is. McCall versus Ike Ibeabuchi in the 90s. It would have been a powerhouse fight. You remember the same McCall knocked out Lennox Lewis. And to be fair, okay, Oliver McCall never really challenged Lewis in the second fight. He was mentally unstable. He was not there mentally, and I feel spiritually. I think he was either on drugs, or he was coming off drugs, or he was forced to fight Lennox Lewis. Because I think what happened in that case, I think Don King, like he did before, he made Larry Holmes fight Mike. Larry Holmes didn't want to fight Mike Tyson. Don King made him fight him by force. And I think he did the same to Oliver McCall. Oliver McCall didn't want to fight, bro. You could tell he didn't want to fight. So I can't give Lennox Lewis, well, Lennox Lewis just came prepared to do whatever he was going to do. But he was fighting someone that wasn't spiritually and mentally and physically there. So you can't, how much credit can you give Lennox Lewis for that win? Now, I'm just putting it out there because I really don't like Lennox Lewis as far as personality. I think he's an amazing fighter, but I just never really liked his personality. I think, that was just his personality. He was a little cocky, and the cockiness just turned into pompous, and I didn't like the pompousness of Lennox Lewis. I don't think Lewis could ever beat the real McCall. He might not have. He might not have ever beat Oliver McCall when, you know what I mean? Oliver McCall took him out. I seen Oliver McCall spar Mike Tyson. And that's all I needed to know, especially after knowing Mike used to hurt and knock out sparring partners. And then I seen McCall Tyson. That shit was competitive. Lennox ducked the big rubber matches. Ali couldn't rest until he was 2-1 over Frazier and Norton. Well, Lennox Lewis is not Muhammad Ali. That's not my dad there. That's Lennox Lewis. Lennox Lewis did what Lennox Lewis did. Lennox Lewis left the sport when he had a controversial decision, and he never came back. So, no, he wasn't. I think he played it safe, because if he would have fought Vitali again, Vitali probably would have got the best of him and put his ass out, and Lennox Lewis wanted to end on top, so he left and he did not return. But then what I didn't like about him, he wanted to be a dick about it. Oh, you call that? I would have beat him. Yeah, I would have beat him. Hey, they're lucky they saved his eye. They're lucky. He's lucky. Like, no, bitch, maybe you're lucky. Maybe he would have hit you with that McCall punch and knocked you spark out. Then you've been looking stupid on your last fight, because he knew it was his last fight. He wasn't. And that's not the fight that you leave the sport of boxing on. Truth be told. Yeah, Lennox Lewis, I'm talking about you, buddy. Yes. Bo kicks his ass at any stage. Well, Bo didn't want to fight Lennox. Bo ducked Lennox. Those are facts. And I don't really care for Lennox, but I'm not going to lie on the man. Bo ducked Lennox Lewis. He didn't want none of that smoke. He didn't want he didn't want them British bombs. Yeah, no, Lennox Lewis was a hell of a fighter. It's just I didn't like his character or his personality. He was a fucking dickhead. You know what I mean? Maybe he's calmed down over the years, but bro, he was a jerk. And not the cool kind of jerk. You know what I mean? Some people can be assholes, but you still kind of like them. You guys watch The Boys on Amazon Prime. It's almost like Homelander is a guy that you just don't like. Soldier Boy is the guy he's a dickhead, but he's likable. You know what I mean? That's the difference. Yeah, he ducked Lewis. He didn't want no more of that. He threw his fucking belt in the trash. Bo signed 3 times to fight Lewis. History forgets that. Oh, there is some reason. I have to do research on that, and I'll get back to you guys on it. We'll get back to you guys on the history of Riddick Bowe versus Lennox Lewis, and while we'll do a thorough breakdown like I did with the Deontay Wilder versus Anthony Joshua that I released at 2 a.m. Central Standard Time. And I hope you guys enjoy it. Bo versus Lewis was a done deal in August of 94. The September McCall KO Lewis. Ah, okay. That's some of it. Cool. Tyson said his last real fight was Douglas. After that, it was Corvette waiting to crash. Interesting. Interesting. McCall was a very, very talented boxer, has an impressive resume. Yeah, he made a comeback, man. He just knocked somebody's spark out. Now, I wouldn't mind Ike Ibuchi fighting him because they're all in their 50s. Even though Oliver McCall, I think, is 60 years old now. He's in his late 50s, right? So it is what it is. It is what it is, peeps. Who else? Usyk is turning to be a ducker now. Well, I think Alexander Usyk, I think that the thrill is gone. And I think as far as fighting Wilder, it's just another check. It's another box that he's checking. It's another name that he's checking off the list of fighters that were known. It makes sense. You beat AJ, you beat Tyson. That's the last one left, Wilder. You know what I mean? And Wilder talked shit about Alexander Usyk for about 6 or 7 years. People forget that though. If you don't even know, Wilder had a lot to say about Alexander Usyk because remember, Deontay Wilder was a guy that was contemplating because of his size. He's lean, right? He could have made weight and went back to cruiserweight, and he was contemplating going back to cruiserweight. That's where the undisputed champion lied, Alexander Usyk. So if he would have went to cruiserweight, that fight would have happened at cruiserweight. But it was just Usyk decided to make his way to heavyweight. Wilder is 40 now. He is ducking Wardley. Usyk, bro, in a few weeks will be 39. They ain't that far in age now. So before you say that, think it's not like Usyk's 33 or 34 years of age fighting a 40-year-old. No, he's somebody in his late 30s fighting someone that is 40. Wilder woke up one morning and his right hammer of Thor was gone. Yeah, Telly Swift stole it. The little Asian chick that he dated, that he got the kid by? She stole that shit. She stole everything that wasn't tied down. She stole that shit. Everything that wasn't tied down. If his nuts were detachable, she would have stole them too. But I think I watch a lot of behind the scenes stuff. Okay. And it was a behind the scenes footage of Telly Swift was talking to Wilder, and the way she was talking to Deontay Wilder was like, he was mad to the point like a child. So, bro, she had Deontay Wilder here, and there. Here, and there. That's how she had him. She was talking to him like, you okay? She was rubbing him and, she was comforting him, which I thought was kind of cool. But I do understand Wilder was hurt when he found out this chick, not only are you cheating on me with somebody you really like, you are also stealing money from me. So that meant she was in preparation, of taking him for everything that she possibly could, which is sad, bro. That's what's wrong with Wilder. Wilder comes out here and knocks somebody's spark out. That'll tell you everything you needed to know. The motherfucker was heartbroken. I know Usyk is nearly 39. Let's see if he has ducked Caballo. Well, that's the next fight he has to fight, or just drop the WBC. Just, you know what I mean? Systematically drop every belt and let that fighter fight for that belt. And then we can go back to zero. And then people can leave Usyk alone and let Usyk do whatever the fuck Usyk wants to do. You know what I mean? I just think the thrill is gone when it comes to Undisputed, because he could have gotten 3 times Undisputed. He may do that. Who knows? He may do exactly that. He may come right back and say, hey, Wardley, how are you? I'm coming to my belt. Right? Dude, you look healthy today and happy. What happened? What do you mean? When I don't look healthy other days? That's jacked up. Riddick Bowe was done like that. He found out years later his son wasn't his. Ooh, boy, that's fucking shitty. I would rather find out that I have a kid than to find out that a kid ain't mine. Fuck. You know, like, dude, what the hell? Fresh lineup? Not really, dude. Not really. I mean, appreciate it. You know, nice fade and shit. But appreciate you, Mr. DLSO8. Man looks healthy because he's sober. That may be true. That may be true. Facts. Y'all drunk, y'all. Hey. Kurt, to beat Agat Kabayel, you need to be first every time in a fight. I don't know. I don't know, Jax, man. You better protect your stomach. You better protect your midsection, because this dude is gonna chop you up. Because he's coming with those axe shots. He's sober till he cracks that bottle. Damn. Y'all talking like I'm a drunk or something. That's fucked up. I'm Irish, don't mean I'm gonna walk around drunk all the time. Man, I'm gonna go to bed after I eat. I just ate a apple, so I'm good. Galata versus Hrgovic. Galata. Definitely Galata. He say, Mister, can you teach me how to flirt like a king? Sure. Everything should be accented. Come here. Now go. You know? Yeah, Kabayel is fighting in 2 weeks. That is correct, and I can't wait to watch that fight. I'm waiting to see him back in action, and I'm actually disappointed in Kabayel for not taking fights this year. He should have fought 3 times this year. He only fought fucking once. And I'm like, okay, what kind of bullshit is that? You know what I mean? And inactivity to me is first cousin of father time, right? Because if you're inactive, you're not as good. You're not as sharpened. You're not as focused. You're not as conditioned to be ready for the next one. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. Best way to flirt is to show no interest. I don't know about that. Because, you know, certain chicks want that type art because they get it. You know, if you don't give it to them, they'll just say some stupid shit. Oh, he's gay. No, bitch, I'm not gay. I just know that, you know, everybody like if I'm coming from a club and it's some chicks that's hot, right? And you got 2 or 3 dudes on them. I don't want to talk to her. You know, you already got enough shit going on. Because by the time I get talked to you, I'm just another fucking guy in the crowd. That's why I don't really like to go to clubs like that, you know? What do you consider inactive? Once a year. That's inactive. That's exactly what it is. A once-a-year fighter. That's an inactive fighter. Andy Ruiz, Deontay Wilder, Agat Kabayel. They're all inactive fighters. Jarrell Miller is an inactive fighter. Yeah. How old is Agat? Agat is like 32. And, you know, like, yeah, bro, no, they're fucking over him. Everyone else, think about it. Everyone else has a plan, right? Fabio is a WBO champion. he fought Joseph Parker. Um, Daniel Dubois he's after Fabio Wardley, right? They may have a fight together, or he may be fighting AJ, right? Who else? Moses Atoma may be fighting for, something else. Like they got him fighting Jermaine Franklin. I get Kabayel. Who the fuck is he fighting? Somebody we never heard of. You know what I mean? And he's the WBC interim. So it's like everyone has a legitimate plan except for who? I get Kabayel. Kurt, who wins? Prime Luis Ortiz versus Jai Opetaia. That's scary, man. Because, see, Luis Ortiz is not a small guy. That's a heavyweight. Most importantly, he's a southpaw that likes to counter. Jai needs to stay far away from Luis Ortiz as possible, because if he doesn't, he's going to end up getting hit by that big bastard. And if he gets hit by King Kong, there's no guarantee, because it's uncharted waters how Jai Opetaia takes a heavyweight shot. Okay? That's a factor that I like Opetaia. I'm rooting for him. I support him. Island brother and all that. But at the same time, we have to be real and realistic and honest. Okay? We have to be honest about what his limitations are at a weight class that he's never fought in. He's never fought in that weight class. And for the record, people, Alexander Usyk was a heavyweight in the amateurs. In the WSB, he fought Joe Joyce. He was 214 pounds. That's 2 pounds less than Jake Paul came in to fight Anthony Joshua. Okay? That being said, he's been a heavyweight before. So keep that in mind and put that in your pipe and smoke it. Okay? Bradis broke his jaw. Better watch that left from King Kong. Yeah. Shit, the left, the right, and every other shot. Then Bud was inactive, still whooping ass. Tio is inactive too. He only fought once this year, so you have Shakur winning that fight. That's the case. I just picked one. I don't care who wins that fight. If I were to pick one, it would be Shakur. You know what I mean? It's almost like lesser of the evils. You know what I'm saying? Like hey, like Shakur is okay. It's just, I wasn't impressed. I wasn't impressed in the Dos Santos fight. And, he has bad knuckles, so, realistically, he can't punch as hard as he'd like to, I feel. But I do think that, I think he has an opportunity to beat Tio. Two cocky guys, confident guys, so it is what it is. Miller's back fighting 12-16-2 Kingsley bet on the Tio card. Well, if Jarrell Miller's back, I would like to see who he's fighting. I guess we don't get the Shiraz versus Canelo fight now. I mean, that's up to Canelo. That's really up to Canelo Alvarez, man. So it is what it is. I may do another one in the afternoon, but I got to get some sleep, and I may have to do some more content. But until then, I'm glad you guys hung out with me for this last hour. Anna, you will see me later on in the day. Until then, you guys have been counterpunched. Peace.